Ooh. Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. Hope all of you are doing well and ready to start introducing. So we'll start with this poll. So go ahead and use your phone and take this poll. You have 1 minute or 1.5 minutes. Remember, this is not graded. Be honest. Whatever you know, just answer. So all of you are done? Not yet. Okay. Okay, so let's see the responses. Okay, I think, let us see whatever you have done. You don't have to keep answering. It looks like people are still answering. Okay, can I stop taking the response? Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Yeah, go ahead. It's okay. No problem. You'll not lose any grade for that. Okay, so let's see the first question. Was it mentioned in the class? Okay, so now let us talk to me. Instead of talking with each other, let's talk to me. So was it mentioned in the class that it will cost $10 to use CodeGrid? Yes, it was mentioned in the class in the first lecture. I'm going to the class recording. Okay, I'm going to the class recording of our first lecture. If you see, I spent quite a bit of time talking about CodeGrid, and it doesn't come free. $10 mentioned multiple times during the first lecture. I put this question because one of my TAs said that some students are complaining they never knew that they have to pay $10. But I have spent quite a bit of time in our first lecture talking about this. So what you have to do, you have to pay attention, pretty details. Remember, during the lecture, I go through very details. Like I try to cover a lot of surrounding stuff. It's pretty common that you'll forget what I have discussed. So try to pay attention, and always you can go back and watch the recording. Even you can search in the transcript. Of course, transcript is not perfect. Let's you have a question in your mind, was it discussed in the class? You can search in the transcript of the lecture recording, you can find those. Okay, next question is, how much memory does a chart data type takes? Yeah, it takes 1 byte. It was a very important part of our last lecture, right? In our last lecture, around the last half of the lecture, we have discussed about the data type. If you do not know this, you are not prepared for today's lecture properly. Okay? So you have to change your study habit. If you study like this, you'll not understand what I am talking. You'll not be in the same page with the class. You come to the class, make sure you have pretty good idea what was covered in the last lecture and you know them very well. This is like today I may teach you how to write a word in a language, but if you do not know the alphabet of that language, you will not be able to make a word, right? So you have to know A, B, C, D before using them to make a word. Now if you come to class without knowing the alphabet, you will not be able to make a word, make a sentence, make a paragraph, right? So they are built gradually. So make sure you, if you want to use this class, utilize the time of the class properly, make sure to review the class we have discussed in our last lecture. So yes, how much memory taken by character data type? The answer is 1 byte. Only 78 students answered this question correctly. 1 byte means how many bits? 8 bits. Okay? So this was discussed in our last lecture. 1 byte. Now next question is, what system is used to store a character in C? We have used a system called ASCII, A-S-C-I-I, ASCII value. So every character you store in C programming is stored as an ASCII value. For example, if you store uppercase A in your code, it will store actually the ASCII value of uppercase A. Can anyone tell me what is that code for uppercase A? 65. Okay, so where you got this from? It was in the slide, and also I explicitly mentioned this in the class. So do I need to memorize this? I actually told you that typically memorize uppercase A and lowercase a at least. Okay, so this is actually alarming in the second week, first lecture of the second week. So make sure you have to change your way of study for this class. Next, 56% of students answered this correctly. So yeah, this is the correct answer, that an integer takes 4 bytes, which is 32 bits. So 32 bits can store number between negative to the 31 to positive to the 31 minus 1. How you got this number? Also we have discussed in our last lecture. Okay? So these are very important idea, otherwise you'll not understand what we'll be talking in the lecture. What with the output of the program? Yeah, so this is correct. So majority of the students answered this correctly. Yeah, it will print this in the same line. So hello world, so it will print whole thing in a single line. Which printf will be able to print this message? So yeah, majority of you are able to answer this correctly. That's great. Okay. So I got some idea. So make sure you study in that way, the way I ask you to be successful in this class. So I'm going back to this topic. So this was what we have discussed, remember? So int takes 4 bytes, 32 bits, and this is the range of int. And how we got this range? Because using 32-bit, you can generate 2 to the power 32 different numbers. And half of them goes to the negative side, and the remaining goes to 0 and positive side. So we have discussed all of this. Then unsigned integer and so on. We have discussed all of these. Then characters. Okay, before moving further, I would like to ask this question. 5,299. Raise your hand if you think this is a valid integer. Raise your hand if you think this is not a valid integer. Okay, majority wins. Yes, this is not a valid integer. Why? Comma. You cannot put comma. If you want to store 5,299, you directly write 529. Got it? Okay, cool. And also cannot put a space as well. Next, we have learned character data type. This is what it says 8 bits, and it uses ASCII value. And this ASCII table, see, uppercase A is 65, lowercase a is 97. Now I'll ask another question. AB. Raise your hand if it is a valid character. Raise your hand if you think it is not a valid character. Wow, I'm really happy. Yes, it is not a valid character. Why? It has to be a single character, not multiple characters. Okay. 5. Raise your hand if you think this is an integer. You're right, this is an integer. However, if you put single quotation 5, this is not an integer anymore. This is a character. So this 5 will be stored as an ASCII value, but the previous 5 will be stored as an integer. So it will take 4 bytes, but it will take only 1 byte. So whenever you put 5 as a character, it will actually store the ASCII value of 5, which is 53. So in the background, it will store 53. Now you might have a question, which one should we use? Depends what you want to do. If you want to add numbers 5 plus 2, you don't want to use this, right? Because 5 plus 2 equals to 7. However, this 5 plus 2 is actually 55, because this is 53 plus 2. Got it? Okay, this is how it works. So characters are stored in this way. Cool, then we have learned float, data type, and double and float. Now I have a question. 5.29. If you have a number like this, it will be actually by default double. Okay? But if you want to use float, then you use float data type to store this, and it will be converted as a float. Now what is the difference between float and double? Float takes 4 bytes, double takes 8 bytes. It means double is more precise number. Let's say you have more fractional number after decimal places in case of double. But majority of the time, float should be enough for you. In your programming assignments, it will be typically mentioned what type of data you should use, float or double. If it is not mentioned, try with float. If you see that it is not passing test case, try with double, something like that. Okay? Cool. So we have learned data types. So what are these pictures of? These are all pictures of bucket. Are the same bucket? Do you think here we can have bucket with same amount of like volume? Let's say there could be buckets, both of them can hold 4 gallons of water. But it can happen that they have different shape, right? So why you're talking about bucket in this class? The reason is in C programming, if you want to use your data, so for example, you want to use integer, float, character, or whatever it is, you have to specify to your computer, hey computer, can you give me some space to store an integer? If you ask your computer to do that, how much space they will give you? If an integer 4 bytes, they will give you 4 bytes from the memory. Memory of what? From the RAM. Okay, as we discussed earlier in one of our lecture, that every time we talk about memory, you are talking about RAM of the computer. So when you need to work with an integer, you have to ask your computer, hey computer, can you give me some space for an integer? The computer will give you memory to store an integer. How much memory it will give you? It will give you 4 bytes of memory. If you want to work for a character, you say, hey computer, can you give me a memory to store a character? Then it will give you 1 byte of memory. If you ask for float, it will also give you 4 bytes. Integer is giving you 4 bytes, float is also giving you 4 bytes of memory. So the amount of space is same, but their shape is different. So that's why it says, okay, it means like they have different strategy to store the floating point number, but space is same. Okay, so that's why I said bucket with different shape and different size and so on. Okay, now how can you ask your computer? Now you may say, okay, I can ask my computer to give me some space. That's cool, but how to ask for that? So to get a memory, you have to declare variable. Okay, something is called variable. So variable, you have to declare a variable to get space. Now you say, okay, how can I declare a variable? To declare variable, you have to specify the data type. What type of variable do you want? If you want to have an integer variable, you have to write int, then put a space, and then put the name of your variable. Let's say the name of my variable is basic salary. I'm writing a shortcut, int space basic salary, and I'm putting a semicolon here. Whenever you write this, your computer will give you space from the memory. How much space it will give you? 4 bytes. So you can think the space looks like a box. So you have a box. What is the size of the box? 4 bytes. What is the name of the box? The name of the box is basic salary. Okay? So you got a box, 4 bytes box that can store an integer, and to go to this box to access that particular box in the memory, you have to use basic salary as a variable to go there and take something from there. What do I have inside this box at this moment? There is nothing called nothing. Think about this is in the memory, right? It means there was some electronic signal already present in that place, right? Remember we talked about there's some electronic signal, so computer is nothing but electronic signal. So there are some binary numbers already in that box. But those binary numbers are useless for me. We call that as garbage, okay? So we call that as a garbage value. Keep that in mind, we use this word actually, okay? So you have a box or you have a variable, you did not put anything in that variable, it means that variable is garbage at that moment. Next is, if you want to use this variable to calculate something, let's say you have another variable called total. I'm putting comma, I'm declaring another variable called total, T-O-T-A-L. So whenever you write this, you got another box called total. Currently, it also has garbage values. Now, if you write something like total equals to basic salary plus 500. Can you tell me what should we have inside total? Garbage. So you add 500 with a garbage, you get another garbage. Right? Makes sense? Because you don't know, you're adding 500 with something that you don't know. So you also get a result that you don't know. Make sense? So still you have a garbage in that place. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to say here. So if you declare a variable and use it in an arithmetic operation without initializing this, you get more garbage. Okay? So the result will be garbage because garbage plus anything is also garbage. Okay. Now you might have a question, how to have no garbage there? You have a bucket or box, you did not put anything there, so it has garbage. If you do not want garbage there, what do you want to do? You put something there. Then it will not be garbage anymore. So how to put something in a variable? Before going there, let us still learn more about variables. Question. How many boxes do I have in this line? I got 2 boxes because I have 2 variables. Those variables takes place where in your computer? In the RAM. How much space taken by them? 4 bytes and 4 bytes total 8 bytes. So if you have these 2 variables, it will take 8 bytes of memory for your code from your computer. Now how you access those variables? You use this variable name to go to those boxes. Now, another important thing also need to know how your computer knows where are those boxes are in the memory. So they have actual address in the memory. So each of this box has its own address. So it has a memory address. Can we see the address of those boxes in the memory? Yes, we can do that. Now we'll play with this a little bit in a code. So I'm going to computer, open online GDB. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I will everything, I'm writing a code from scratch. So we start our code typical with a header comment, okay? Let's say you write your name, date, and purpose of. So something like this, and comment close. Then you include a library. How you include a library in C program? Hash include. What is the library always have to use? At least stdio.h. Who can tell me what is the full meaning of stdio.h? Yeah, anyone can take the lead. Standard input output .h means header file. So standard input output header file. Then we write our function. Int main. You can put void or you can skip void here. Okay. Then you have return 0. So int main return 0. This is my fixed code. Then I will write my original or whatever I want to do. So let us have a variable int basic salary. Okay. Now I will print it. Printf. Let's say I want to know the size of basic salary. I'm writing size of basic salary variable is. So see, I wrote size of basic salary variable is. This part will not change, always it will show this part. After is, I want to see something that I don't know. So in that place, you have to write format specifier. So the format specifier for size is unsigned long integer. So what is the format specifier? I will talk about this further. So I'm writing %lu. I'm putting a comma here after double quotation. Then call a function called size of. And here write basic salary. And putting a semicolon here. So now I'll write some comment to explain this line. %lu is the format specifier for unsigned long int. Size of a variable is an unsigned long int type of data. Okay, and this is the note for this line. Now I'm running the code. Let's see what we'll see. So size of basic salary is 4. 4 means 4 bytes. Because it is an integer, it is taking 4 bytes of memory in this computer for basic salary. Yeah.
Like a basic input output, then you put like each. Is there anything else that can be there, or is that age?
So currently std.h is enough. So when you we'll learn more functions later on, then we'll be using more libraries during that time. Okay? Yeah, currently it's fine. So you know the size of basic salary. So this is the way you can see the size of a variable. Okay? What else you want to know? You want to know the address of basic salary. Printf. Its address is. Now you want to see the address here, so use format specifier for address %p. Let's put a new line here. And let's put a new line here. And after double quotation comma, you write, okay, listen what I'm saying again, carefully what I'm saying. Its address is, this part of the text is fixed. Then you use %p. What is %p? It is a format specifier to see an address. If you put any format specifier, your code will jump to the right side of this double quotation. And you'll try to look for something and to replace this format specified with that value. This exactly happened here, see? Whenever your code found this %lu, it jumped to the right side. It found, okay, I have to get the size of a basic salary. And after getting that, it will replace this %lu with the value. See? Basic salary of variable is 4. How you got this 4? It just replaced this %lu with 4, right? So same thing will happen here. %p will be replaced by address of basic salary. How to write address? You write ampersand basic salary. We read it like this. We read it address of basic salary. Let us run this code. See, its address is this is the memory address of basic salary. You may get a different number, I will get a different number, because the system will give different address every time you run your code. It finds the memory available to that computer and it will give that memory. If I run the code again, I will get different address. So now it is A4. I got now E4, different address. Okay. So %p or %x or %u can be used to see the address. Okay. So %p, %x or %u. Now, so what is the difference? See %p here, it is showing the address in this format, right? Carefully observe. This is showing the address in this format. If I change this to %x, run the code, it will show the address in another format, an hexadecimal format. If you use %u, it will show the address as an integer, unsigned integer. Run the code, it's showing the address as an unsigned integer. Got it? So these are the three format specifiers. Now I want to see, can you tell me what you have inside basic salary at this moment so far? Say loudly. We have garbage. Okay. So basic salary is garbage at this moment. Let's see the garbage. Printf. The value of basic cell is what format specifier I need to use now? Format specifier for integer. You have done lab already, right? So format specifier for integer is %d. So %d is int. Okay. So what I need to do? After double quotation comma, I have to write basic cell. So just write the variable name. What will happen? It will just replace %d with the value of basic cell. Let us run this code. So size of basic salary is 4 bytes. This is the address. Let's use %p too. %p is the most standard one. And the value of basic salary is 32766, a garbage number. because I did not put in basic salary or anything, so it is just showing a garbage number. Now, I'll say something that is extremely important throughout the semester. And I know many students do this mistake very often. So you have declared basic salary. You did not put anything in the basic salary. So it is currently garbage. Very often, many compiler put 0 automatically. If you do not put anything, it will put 0 automatically. So you wrote a code, you did not put anything, your code is working fine because it is 0 automatically. But your code has a big bug because your code will not work in other system because it is still garbage. Got it? So very often you see my code is working perfectly fine. You submit the code on code grades, you'll see it is giving wrong answer. It's okay, my code is working fine in my computer, giving me correct answer, but in code grade it's giving wrong answer. Probably you did not initialize the variable properly. Got it? So make sure you initialize a variable before using that, otherwise you have this problem. Okay, so now you may have a question. I understand it is garbage. How can I put something in that place? Now we learn another extremely important idea. This is called, let's say, basic salary. I'm writing 5,000. So I write basic salary equals to 5,000. Whenever you write basic salary equals to 5,000, it will put 5,000 in that place. Now, you might be in different mindset when you write this code, this line. This is simple, but you have learned a very powerful operator. I'm writing this note. This is called what? Who can tell me? Assignment operator. Okay. Important notes. Assignment operator copies the result from the right side of the expression to the variable on the left side of the expression. This is how assignment operator works. So you cannot put more than one variable name on the left side of the assignment operator. Also, you must put one variable name on the left side of the assignment operator. So what is the conclusion? You have an expression on the right side. It will get the result from the right side and it will put the result to the box you put in the left side. This is kind of, you have a box in the left side, you do a lot of stuff, get the result, do blending and whatever you want to do, the result will be stored in the box you have in the left side. So you have to have one box in the left side, only one box, so you can update that box with the result from the right side. So this is how it works. Many of you probably know this simple way, but this is more deeper way what is happening. Okay. Now I have written this code. Raise your hand if you think the value of basic salary is 5,000 in line number 18. So now if you run the code, do you think it will print the value of basic salary is 5,000? No, wow, you know this. How do you know? Okay. See, the value of basic salary is still this. But if you just look at the box, sorry. Do you think you have 5,000 in the basic salary box now? Yes, we have basic salary 5,000 now, but it's not showing that. Why? It's kind of, you have seen a box that has garbage value. Someone put apple there, but you didn't see that box yet. You put the box before putting apple there. Okay? You saw the box before putting apple. Now you put apple, but you didn't see the box. If you want to see the box again, let's call this function again. Copy this. Now you run the code. See, value of basic salary is this. Now the value of basic salary is 5,000. So it has changed after this line. So what we learned from here, that you have to put your code in a proper logical manner. So don't start complaining, oh, there's a problem with this computer because it's not showing. I put 5,000 there, but it is not showing. You know why it is not showing. Okay? So you have to put your code in a proper logical manner so that you get the result properly. Okay. Many of you have learned coding before. Raise your hand if you think you have learned at least something new today. Okay, majority of you, that's cool. Okay, so now I'm commenting this. Now let us have more coding. Let's delete all of this stuff now. So now let us do some math. So we want to have basic salary and commission. So basic salary, commission. So we have two variables now. We can declare another variable, int, let's say total salary. So how many boxes do we have now? 3 boxes. Basic salary box, commission box, and total salary box. Okay. Now, what I'm doing calculation. Total salary equals to basic salary. So is it valid expression? Can I write basic salary plus commission equals to total salary? Is it valid expression? Why not? So you have 2 items in the left side. This is not valid, right? We have just written this note, remember? In the left side of the assignment upper, you can have only one variable, nothing else. So this is not correct. You have to write in this way. You write total salary equals to this. So this is the right way of writing. So write, it will be calculating and then putting the result there. Now let's do something. Let's put something in basic salary. So basic salary equals to, let's say, 5,000. Commission equals to, let's say, 200. Now printf. Your basic is %d. Commission is %d. Total is %d. Oh. If you observe here, how many format specifier do I have here? 3. So do not look all of this at mattress form or whatever. Okay. So that's why I don't want to use online GDB. I always use REPL it. Let's use REPL it, okay? So I don't get distracted. So this was the code we were writing. So basic salary, commission, and everything is fine. So I have 3 format specifiers. So I have to provide 3 expression after this comma. And they will be picked in the sequence, proper sequence. So first place, what do you want to see? You want to see the basic salary in the first %d, right? So you put basic salary there. In the second one, what do you want to see? Commission. Let's put commission there. And the third one, you want to see the total. You write the total. So here is the code. Now let us run this code. So you say your basic is 5,000. Commission is 200. Total is 5,200. It's okay. Looks really good, right? I'm copying this exact same code to online GDB. Okay. Let us run it. It's showing a total is completely garbage number. So REPL is very forgiving. You did a big mistake in this code, but it's forgiving you somehow. But your code is not correct. It shows that your code has a big bug. What is the bug? Who can tell me? Okay, so we calculated total based on garbage. So whenever you calculate this total, the basic salary and commission was garbage. And you're adding two garbage, total salary is garbage. Now you have updated basic and commission, but you have not updated total. So as a result, total is still garbage, but basic and commission is correct because they got numbers, but total didn't get updated. Got it? Okay. So there is a problem. So these are actual problems. See, if you submit this code, you see my code is working perfectly fine. You submit the code on CodeGrade will catch this problem, and you say CodeGrade has a big problem. I paid $10 to pass my test cases, but it's not passing. Okay? So you know what is the problem, right? Okay. Now if you want to correct this, what should I do? I can switch this line. So line number 14, add these numbers after having the numbers. So you got the numbers, now you add this and you get the correct answer. So it's 5,200. Let's copy and paste the same code here. Run the code. It is also giving you correct answer because your code is correct now. Cool. Now I got a very good code. Run it. You get the same answer. Very boring code, right? Or kind of very useless program. So why this program is useless? Because basic salary and commission is always fixed. You want to have something that is more dynamic. You want to get an ability. Hey user, can you tell me what is your basic salary and commission? We can calculate your total salary with that. So I want to gain the ability to take input. Okay. So now learn how to take input. You have learned this in the lab. It's kind of more formal way of saying you. So we use scanf function to take input. It looks like this. Scanf, quotation, format specifiers. If you have multiple, then or you can have one. Comma, address of variables. Okay. This is how scanf looks like. Let us practically use this. So instead of initializing them like this, I'll give a prompt to the user. Printf, enter your basic salary. Okay. What do you want to do after this? Can you tell me line number 20, what should I write? Scanf. So you want to take input. What type of input you want to take? Integer. So what is the format specifier for integer? %d. Before moving further, let me also write the format specifiers further. %d for int, %f for float, %c for char, %ld for long, %u for unsigned int, %lu for unsigned long int, %lf is for double, and %p, %x could be used for address. So these are the format specifiers we'll be using very often. So let's go back to our code. So I want to take an integer. Okay. See from here, line number 21, I see scanf, provide format specifier. I have one format specifier. Then after doing this, I put comma. After doing comma, what should I put here in this place? address of variable. So what is the address? I write ampersand. And which variable I will use? Basic salary. So line number 32 reads like this. Hey scanf, can you ask user to give me an integer? And whatever integer you get, send it to the address of basic salary. Okay? This is the story happening in the background. It's kind of, you get an input from the user, package this and post it using USPS to the address of basic salary. So it will go to the home of basic salary. So here you must have to provide address. If you do not write this ampersand, what does that mean? Can anyone give me some idea? If you do not put this ampersand, what does that mean? It means still basic salary has some garbage values in it, right? So basic salary box has a garbage value, and scanf will send the data or integer to that garbage address. What is the big problem with this? Think about that garbage address belong to Zoom. Zoom is running in that address of the memory. And you're trying to put something of Zoom's address. So your Windows or Mac, whatever system you're using, they'll think your code is a virus because you're trying to hack another software. Okay? And you'll crash your code. You'll see your code is suddenly crashing because you're trying to access a memory illegally. Because that memory belongs to another software and you're trying to put something in that software and it will not allow you to do that. Got it? So if you do not put, so use ampersand. Let me write it. If you do not put ampersand, it will send the int to a garbage address. It will result in segmentation fault. Okay, so don't think police will come because you're doing some illegal task, but your computer, you'll suffer if you write this code. Okay, so scanf, so make sure you use ampersand. Got it? So I write a lot of notes. These notes are important. Now let's have another information of printf. Enter your commission. Now scanf %d ampersand commission. Okay. Now we got prompt, took the input, prompt, got the input, calculated the total, and our code is now more useful than this code. Let's run this code. Enter our basic salary, 8,000. Enter commission, 300. Your basic is 8,000, commission is 300, total is 8,300. So now this code is more useful than the previous one. So you can take input. So raise your hand if you're understanding so far. If you have any question, any confusion, let me know. You understood that what is the purpose of ampersand here and what will happen if you do not put ampersand, right? Pretty common mistake is to write in the beginning because you're coming from different software, different programming language, so very often you do this mistake. Now, see, I'm calculating the total salary here. I'm commenting this line and I'm writing the whole expression here. This is also possible. And you can skip using total salary here. So see, I do not have any variable called total salary. I'm directly calculating the total in printf. So this %d will jump to this place and it will see this is an expression. It will calculate it and then show this in this place. Let us run this code. 8,300, 8,300, but quite different code. So now this code will take less space than the previous one. Now I have a question, okay, should I use this variable or directly calculate here? It depends on the application. If you want to use this result later on, then you don't want to calculate total again and again and again. You calculate once and use that later on. Otherwise, here you're doing the calculation. Okay, so we are done with this. What I'm missing, let me think about it. So I have covered main part of this. Now, next question is, let's say basic cell. What I'm doing, instead of writing underscore, I'm putting a space. You say, I want to say basic space cell. Does it work? You run the code, it shows an error. You say, okay, what is this? What is going on? So what we learned from here that you cannot give anything as a variable name. You have to follow some rules of variable. Okay, now we'll be learning what are the valid variable name in C. Let's go back and see the stuff. Okay. So rules of variable names are identifier. When you name a variable, you have to follow the following rules. Otherwise, your program will give error. 1, must be comprised of letters, digits, and or underscore. So you can have underscore or digits in your variable name. You can have letter, digits, and underscore. You cannot put any other symbol. You cannot have dollar sign. You cannot have plus sign in your variable name. One special symbol is underscore. Should not be longer than 31 characters. So you cannot give a very big variable name. Doesn't make sense, right? You want to have a very big, okay, this is the variable to store the date of birth of Jonathan and something like this. So do not give a very big variable name, right? Have relatively small, or it's fine, not has to be A, B, C, good variable name, but should not be that big. A letter or underscore must be the first character. So the variable name can start with a letter or underscore. Quiz. Can we have a digit in our variable name? Raise your hand if you think yes, we can have digit. It says, right? You can have a digit in your variable name. But can you have digit in the first character of the variable name? No. It must start with underscore or letter. Cannot be a digit in the first character of the variable name. Most implementation variable names are kind of case sensitive. Okay, C is a case sensitive language. Must not be a keyword. You cannot use a keyword, C reserved keyword as a variable name. Okay, what do you mean by keyword? You cannot have a variable name called int, lowercase int. So a variable name cannot be int because this is a keyword of C. Okay, but can you have a variable name with int? Yes, because there's nothing like uppercase int in C. So you can give it as a variable name. Yeah, you can give underscore int. But only int is a keyword. So for example, main, char, int, float, return, and switch, for different loops names, so you cannot use them as a variable name. No commas or blanks are allowed within the variable, so you cannot put a comma in a variable name. You cannot use space in your variable name. No special symbol other than underscore can be used in a variable name. Next is, although it is not a rule, good programming practice is to choose a variable name that is specified the function of that variable. Think about the code we have just written. We say basic salary, commission, total salary. So when you see that code, when you see this variable name, you know what is the purpose of this variable, right? Just from the name, you can say that, oh, this variable is used to store the basic salary of a person. But if you just write this code with A is for basic salary, B is for commission, C is for total salary, your code will work, no problem. But your code is horrible because people will not understand what is the purpose of A, what is the purpose of B, C, and so on, right? So use good variable name. In your programming assignments, if you use bad variable name, you may lose credit. Okay? And it's like intuitive idea that what should be a good variable name. Instead of writing A, B, C, D, something like that, use good variable name. Okay? Okay, let's keep going. Where are we? Here we go. So see, these are C keywords. You can use those keyword as a variable name. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so can you tell me I have declared int 1 underscore num. Is it a valid variable name? No, right? Because it is starting with a digit. You cannot start with a digit. Int num underscore is a valid variable name? Yes. Because you can have digit, you can have underscore, but it has to follow this rule. Int num space 1, is it a valid variable name? No. Int num hash 1, is it a valid variable name? No. Okay. Int underscore num, is it a valid variable name? Yes, it can start with underscore. Okay, so you know the rules and make sure you follow the rules and so on. Int, is it a valid variable name? Yes. Valid but not a good one. Where is valid? Okay, so it's an int for a float, right? Okay. Int int, is it a valid variable name? Yes, because this is not a keyword. This is a keyword. Int float, this is not a variable because this is a keyword. Okay, cool. So type of declaring variables. So there are many different ways to declare variables. So you can declare, let's say, multiple variables separated by comma. You cannot declare multiple types of variable in the same line. So you cannot declare float and integer in the same line. You have to have a integer one line, float in another line. Okay. You can declare and initialize in the same line. So here A, B, C, these are all garbage values. Okay. What is going on? But when you write int I equals to 10, comma j equals to 25, this is valid. So here you got two boxes, I box and j box, and you have 10 here and you have 25 there in the same line. Then float a equals to 1.5, b equals to, so you can have an expression like this when you declare variable and initialize it. This is also allowed, this is also allowed. This is allowed, this is allowed. Now things can change. For example, if int I equals to 10, j equals to 25 is same as int j equals to 25, I equals to 10. So the order doesn't matter if you do not use them during declaration. However, float a equals to 1.5, b equals to a plus 3.1 is all right. But float b equals to a plus 3.1 and a equals to 1.5 is not valid. Why? Because you started using a before having a. Here we had a already, so you can use this a. But here you're having a after before using this, so it's not valid. Following statements would work. You declare a, b, c, d, and then your a equals to b equals to c equals to 10. It means 10 will be copied here, then that c value will be copied here, then b values will be copied here. So a, b, c all will become 10. But this is not valid. Int a equals to b equals to c equals to 10, it is not valid because you have to declare those variables before using them. Okay, so these are some rules. We have learned already how to take input using scanf. Now let's write a code. So what code I want to write? I'll write a code that will take the radius of a circle as an input, and it will print the area of the circle and the perimeter of the circle as an output. So keeping that in mind, going to our middle school or 5th grade, remember how to calculate the area of a circle, right? Let's go back and remove everything we have so far. So this is my skeleton code. You understand the question, right? Let's say in the exam or somewhere, you got a question. The question is, write a program that will take the radius of a circle as a user input and print the area and the perimeter of the circle as the output. So how many things we have? Let's write it. Let's do it here. So you got radius, you got area and perimeter. Question. Can you tell me how many variables at least I need? At least. Can I do it with one variable? Yes, because I have to take radius as a user input. And all of this calculation I can do it in the printf directly, right? But let's have 3 variables. What kind of variable should it be? Float? Float is a good idea, right? Because radius could be float. So I'm writing float radius and have 2 other float variables, area, perimeter. Now I'm writing scanf. I want to take the radius input. So what should I write inside this? Percent f. Here I forgot one thing. Okay. Let us pause here. I forgot one thing. Wait, let's go back here. Remember when you use basic set and commission? I forgot to show you that you can take multiple input in a single line. Okay, you can write something like this. Printf, enter the basic salary and commission. And you can write scanf, 2 inputs, so %d. You can skip giving a space, or you can put a space %d. Okay, or you can give a space, no problem with that. And here you write address of basic salary, address of commission. Okay, so I forgot to show you this one, that you can take multiple input in a single scanf. Okay, so if you run the code, basic salary and commission, you can say 5,200 and you press enter. So total is 5,200. Got it? It can be multiple data type and so on. Remember, do not put new line in scanf. Does it make sense to put new line in scanf? Because scanf is not printing anything, right? So do not put new line in scanf. Just put the format specifier. Let's go back to the code I was writing. Okay. So enter the radius of the circle. So address of radius. After getting the radius, what should I do? Calculate the area. Area equals to, what is the formula to calculate area of a circle? Pi r square. So pi is 3.14. R square has to be written as r times r. So radius times radius. Common. Do not write radius square. There's nothing like that. Do not write, in Python you probably write radius 2. There's nothing like that. Okay? So do not write this. This is the way so far. Yeah. Yeah, we'll learn that later on. Okay? So learn a function called power function that we can use. Okay? Yeah, that's a good question. So you calculate the area. Now let us calculate the perimeter. Perimeter is 2 pi r. So 2 times 3.14 times 3.14. No, so 2 pi r, right? Yes. Okay, so 2 times pi times r. So now let us print it. Printf area of a circle with radius %d %f is %f. Okay, and here write area of a circle with radius and area. Okay, so make sense this part? Okay. So area of a circle with radius %f is %f. Also printf is okay, its perimeter is %f. So here I'm writing perimeter. Okay, so here is the code. So let us run this code. It's not showing anything. Can you tell me why it's not showing anything? I didn't prompt it. So why my code is at this moment? My code is in line number 15 because before line number 15 there is no printf. So it's not showing anything. Now it is stuck in line number 15 waiting for my input. So let's give an input. Radius is a floating point number. You can give 10. 10 will convert it into floating point 10.0 in the background. So 10, area of a circle with radius 10.00 is this. Its perimeter is this. Okay, working fine, no problem. We could still also do this calculation directly in this place as well. We have seen this already. Now I have a question, or I want to create a problem. Think about you are working in a company. They have engineering company and they have a code with 2000 lines of code. And they calculate area of circle in many different places of the code. Now the company says, hey, we have a new policy. We have to use more precise value of pi. What do you want to do? We want to have 3.1414 in the value of pi now. That's okay, no problem. Now you started changing 3.1414, 3.1414, all the places you have 3.14, right? And it may happen that somehow you forgot to change in one specific place. So your code has a bug now, right? Sometimes it will do the calculation one way, sometimes it will do the calculation another way because you have a bug, you forgot to change somewhere. You understand the problem? Why we have created this problem? Because we have directly used this number in our code. So I'm writing another note. This 3.14 is called magic number. Programmers hate magic number. Okay? Because it creates problem. They don't understand what is the purpose of this number, where it is coming from. And if I have to change this number somewhere, would it change anything? And if I forget to change in all the places, what will happen, right? So things can happen, go wrong. So how not to use magic number? So instead of directly using this, you use constant because you don't want to change pi later on. So what I'm doing, at the beginning of my code, I'm declaring const float and uppercase pi. It doesn't have to be uppercase, but this is standard practice. If you declare constant, use all uppercase. And in your 2000 lines of code, if any point of time we see all uppercase, as a programmer, I know it is a constant. Okay? It's kind of message to the programmer when you read the whole code. Whenever you find all the uppercase letter variable name, those are constant. Okay? Float pi and you declare 3.14. And instead of using directly the value of pi here, you write pi. You write pi. Okay? Now if you run the code, it works fine, 10, and it gives you the result. It got a bit different number because here I'm declaring as a float. When you directly use 3.14, it was acting like a double. Remember I said by default the numbers are double if you do not put them as a float. Now important message here. So you declare constant and you have this. Now you say we have a new value of pi, just change this 3.141414. You just change in one place, your entire code automatically using the new pi. Got it? So you don't have to change in all the places now. Make sense? So you have changed it here, your entire code is using the new value of the pi. Now it's 10 and it's working in that way. Now the thing is, what is the other benefit of using constant? See, I have declared pi here and I'm writing pi equals to 3.14. It will show an error. So a constant float, you're trying to change it. So I did not put anything here. So pi will remain garbage if you do not put it in the same line. So the rule is when you declare a constant, you have to initialize this in the same line. Got it? You cannot change it after that line. So I'm going back, putting 3.1414 here. If you change 3.1 pi later on, it will not work. So this is also another benefit of using constant. You have 2000 lines of code. You don't want the programmer to change the value of pi anywhere in the code. Just change it in one place. Got it? So as a result, your code is more stronger. It will have less chance to create bug. So this is the benefit of using pi, or I mean constant. Now I'll show you another way of declaring constant. So I'm commenting this line. We use this a lot. You write hash define pi 3.14. This is another approach, and we use this approach a lot because this is global constant. So you have a lot of other functions. Everyone will be able to use this constant without any problem. So when you do hash define, you call it hash define, you don't have to specify the data type. It will get the data type automatically. So now you have this code. It will also work. And you will not be able to change pi later on. You cannot change anywhere. So if you write pi equals to 3.5, it will not be able to change it because pi is a constant. So we have learned two different ways of declaring constant. One is inside the function using const keyword, or in a global space using hash define. Make sure you know both of this strategy. And why do you need constant? Okay. Last thing is this. There are three types of error can happen in your code. So what are the three types of error? Three types of error. One is called compiler error. One is called logical error. And the one is runtime error. Compiler error is compile time. So you have a syntax problem. Let's say you miss a semicolon here. You click the run, your code is not compiled at all. Okay? Your compiler failed to compile. So typically happen when you have syntax problem. Let's say you're missing semicolon, double quotation, those kind of stuff. So this is compiler error. Next one is logical error. Let's say I'm writing pi times radius. Do you think your code will work? Yes, it will work. If you run the code, working fine, 10, you get a number. So working fine, but what is the problem? You get a wrong result, right? Because you have wrong formula. You have some wrong logic in your code. Or if you calculate the area before getting the radius, if you switch this line up, so if you switch this line up, then still your code will work, but you'll give a wrong answer, right? So you have a logical problem in the code. The last error is runtime error. So see, you have no logical problem, everything is fine, but you remove this ampersand. You run the code. Okay. You give 10. Sometimes it works. Let's take the same code on online GDB. Run the code. So it's waiting for my input. I'm giving 10. See, here it is working, but very often it will crash your code. So runtime error means what? Your code is running and suddenly it has a problem that it crashed. It's broken at the middle of the running. So those are called runtime error. So very often it happens if you have segmentation fault, like you're trying to access a memory illegally, or you're dividing by 0, right? So if you are trying to do something that is not compatible to the computer system, then it will crash your code. Okay? And those are called runtime error. So we have learned these three types of error, and I think we are done, right? So we have covered everything we have in this common programming errors. We have actually this always says. So when you find your semicolon missing, you probably have this, right? This problem, and so on.
You want me to access code rate directly? Because I don't know.
Okay, let's ignore this. Okay, any question from Zoom? If not, I'm stopping the Zoom meeting. Thank you all.